Pietro from Iperborea. So Italy, France, Spain, together today to tell us about your beautiful stories of connecting with audiences. So 3 publishers that I admire quite a bit. I think you all, in your specific way, have done an amazing job in, creating a niche, making it bigger, creating a market that didn't exist, and making reading really cool. So there's a lot of stories to tell here. So the format that we thought today is that they are going to tell you a little bit about their story, who they are, and how they have done this of connecting with their audiences, and then we're going to have a conversation, a very informal and open one. So, no, what did I do? Yes?
Yes.
We're starting with Rafa from Anagrama.
Hi, do you hear me? Okay. Many thanks for inviting me to join the panel today. I will start sharing with you some old and new book covers from the main collections of Anagrama to introduce you into our publishing house and the evolution we have experienced in the last years. First of all, let me explain a little bit about Anagrama. I'm sure many of you know about our publishing house, but for those of you that come from abroad, Editorial Anagrama was founded in 1969 by Jorge Ralde, meaning we are celebrating this year the 55th anniversary. And throughout its journey, we have published more than 4,000 titles. And we have consistently focused on discovering new voices, recovering classics from the 20th century, and exploring significant political, moral, and cultural debates of our time, both in fiction and non-fiction. Like many other cases of long-standing independent publishers, the project began on a personal note, embodied by a single person, who's Jorge Ralde, who managed all aspects of the publishing process, from the title selection, the editing, to press, distribution, and even marketing. When Jorge Ralde and the other independent publishers had to hand over the baton, we witnessed a clear transformation. It's like a conversion of these personal brands into plural projects, where a single voice became shared between different professionals. In the case of Anagrama, it started with the arrival of Silvia Cessé in 2017, who is the current editorial director, who has continued to work closely in total harmony with Jorge Ralde, and also with the hiring of Isabel Obiols, who leads the Catalan non-fiction collection. I like to think that the evolution of our book covers reflects this amplification of one voice, the Jorge Ralde's personal work, into a bigger and more diverse vision. Here you have the past and present of 5 of our main collections. On the left side of every pair of covers, you will find the old ones, in which the images are like contained by squares and frames. On the right side, you have the new covers, and you can see that the images are freed. The limits are not that
framed,
and have expanded. It may seem anecdotal, but they also reveal the primary goal of Anagrama's actual branding strategy, that is to respect our origins and also our history, identified by the logo, by the typography, and also respecting the colors of the main collections, and to take them to broader horizons and new possibilities. For me, the most important thing to design the best branding strategy and a good editorial promotion is to deeply understand the DNA of the company, and also to understand the direction it is taken. We have to never forget the essence of the brand. In the case of Anagrama, thanks to the shared visions of Jorge Ralde and also Silvia Cessé, I was able to understand the value of Anagrama, its history, and the basic pillars on which the house is built, and the core of it all, where we will always find the authors. The author represents for us the unique voice of our publishers. I and like in a symbiotic relationship through their discourse, the author shapes our personality, our ideological stance. And at the same time, our publishing house must serve a platform for their voices and their works. And this is not has to happen only through the books. It also can be do it through new platforms and networks that has become very important, a very important part of our marketing strategy. And here is where my team is working on nowadays. With Anagrama's huge catalog, our long history, and the strong publishing rate, it was very easy to start using all the new channels and applications to spread our content without any strategy, but we didn't want to generate more noise to these platforms. We have been studying and analyzing new ways to communicate with our readers, and we have launched actions only when we were sure they had something to contribute in the community. So I will share just 3 quick examples that. Is that way?
Let's say that.
Yeah. The first one is our podcast project, mainly represented by Tema Libre, who is it's a podcast created in 2021. We are about to launch in September our 3rd season. And in Tema Libre, we invite 2 of our authors to talk about a topic that is related to their literary creation. It is a free conversation. There is no guidelines, no scripts, and we wanted to create an intimacy between the authors and to let the listeners feel like they are like sneaking into the private encounter on the conversation. Through its 20 episodes, we had the opportunity to hear Alejandro Zambra and Irene Solá discussing about how to title a book, or Margarita García Roballo and Andrés Barba share their experience on writing from exile. Another example, I have no images of that one, it's Anagrama's weekly newsletter. We launched it in 2022, and our main we wanted to engage with our readers through non-commercial content. Our weekly letter always starts with an article that is related to one of our books, leading our readers to explore topics about it and generating indirect interest to it. And it is complemented with video recommendations, music, cinema, also with information of another new books. We have nowadays 25,000 subscribed readers, and we have a 51% open rate. So we are achieving a direct, very committed and non-aggressive communication with a wide audience, and we are really surprised for the participation of these subscribed readers, because we think it's even more participatory than other social media. The last one I wanted to point out is our audiovisual content. You can see some frames here. We have put a lot of effort to make a high quality audiovisual content that allows us to share a wide variety of videos with our readers and with our readers. The videos they are interviews between authors and journalists or key figures from the Spanish cultural scene, also book presentations or another non-common conversations like the one we have with Mariana Enriquez, the author, who chatted with the actor who put the voice on all of their audiobooks. So this content has allowed us to exponentially grow in our YouTube channels, and also to create a very big community of followers in TikTok, for example. That's a social network in which we had to study and create a specific discourse before approaching. And here we stand today, to sum up, exploring new ways to engage with our readers with the purpose of using technological advance with measure and critical reflection to guarantee a current space for our publishing house, having always in mind our roots and our identity.
Very interesting. Thank you. So we're moving from 50-year-old Anagrama to 10-year-old Leduc. White.
Yes. Okay.
There you are.
One more. Yeah. So Leduc, we are a company founded in 20 years ago, which is in publishing time is really like yesterday, actually, because it's such a like traditional industry. And so we were founded in 2003 by a father and a son. And at the heart of the publishing, the idea was to publish books to live better. So it was mostly practical guides focused on mind, body, spirit thematics. They were pioneer in like alternative medicine and also like aromatherapy and essential oils and everything. But they were two great publishers, but they were also real at heart entrepreneurs. You know, they were fed with all the literature coming from the US, and they were really focused on building. They were really inspired by like the tech industry. And so at the very heart of the company was the idea of doing publishing in a non-traditional way with a really data and marketing focus. And so they started launching Leduc, and then they started wanting to explore a little bit more and to bring to France and French readers the literature and in the business and leadership field that they read from the US. So they launched the Alizio imprint in 2009, and it was our first non-fiction imprint, and then we expanded again and launched 10 years ago, Charleston imprint, which is the first fiction imprint from the group. So today we have like practical guides, narrative non-fiction, and fiction within the same group, with two very strong brands with different readers, obviously, different identities, different way to address and engage the reader, but at the heart, being the same company, so we have the same techniques, may I say, this like marketing-oriented way of thinking of our readers and the market and engaging them, and relying of a tech methodology that is known as growth marketing. I don't know if you're familiar with it, but it really comes from the techs, like startups, you know, and the Airbnb, and originally it was Hotmail, who was the first company really to use it significantly, and it's a marketing strategy that is driven by data, experiments, and also making your users, your consumers, may I say, the first ambassadors of your brand. You really like almost co-creating the brand with them and engaging a lot.
Could you give us an example of that?
Yes, for many examples, but for the most known example for Hotmail is that when they launched it, it was the first free email device, not device, the first free email. And so they started doing like marketing campaign and radio campaign and everything, and they would gain some readership, but some new users, but not that much. And then they had the idea to put in the signature at the bottom of each email, PS, I love you, get your free email at Hotmail. And within 1 month, the growth was like exponential, and they were like #1 and the leader of the market. And of course, in publishing, it's a bit different, but we use really this core community of readers, and I will explain with the Charleston imprint, which is a fiction imprint in which we would focus. So it was launched 10 years ago with the idea of being the first French women's fiction imprint. Women's fiction titles would be published by traditional publishers all over different houses, and not really marketed or labeled women's fiction. It would be in like contemporary fiction or historical fiction. And we said like, this is such a huge readership outside of France. We want to build a house dedicated to women's fiction, ranging from commercial to literary, but it would be only women's fiction. And the idea was that we would address the reader, and the way we built the label, Charleston, was that we were part of a reading community. They are readers, we are readers, we all love books, we all love the same kind of books with a strong story, with strong female characters. And so we built trust, and now we have this powerful brand when they know that if we select a book that we love, they will love it because they trust the brand. And an example of growth marketing we use is that we've had since the very beginning, 10 years ago, a readers group. Each year we select like 10 people on digital platforms, 10 accounts on Instagram now mainly, originally it would be Facebook, that are like Charleston readers, and they will get all the books in advance, they will read it, they would read it, and then we put their chronics inside the book. When we want to choose a cover, we might run the cover. When we don't know which cover to go with, we might run the cover by them. And so we know that the book we will publish, it's really near to their aspiration and what they're looking for. So it's almost co-creation sometimes. And we are in constant interaction, and they will tell us what they read in other companies that they love, when they read in other language that they love, and we discuss all the time. And this is really the core of our strategy, and it has allowed us, along with great books, of course, because you can't do anything if you don't have the great books first, to have a really successful growth.
70% growth in 2023, that's quite impressive.
Yeah, and we sold 1.5 million copies last year, yeah. And we are only 10 years old. And I think that what's interesting is that the French market was already very mature when we decided to launch. It's a strong and mature, so nobody was waiting for us, really. They didn't need us. Nobody needs a new fiction publisher, obviously, like really no one, because there are so many publishers and so many books. So we really had to find a way to connect to the reader directly, and so we were kind of forced to find this connection, but now I think it's our biggest strength, because it's amazing what we've been doing with them. So those are some of the books we are very proud of. Lucinda Riley, she's our biggest author in France. She sold like 5 million copies on our market. But also Repicker, which is a very different kind of book. You know, it's poetry, and it's like engaged poetry. But at the art, we know that the readers that will love Lucinda Riley will love also Repicker, because we have this like, we know what we want to read, and we are sure of it. We have also French readers. Marie Varey is our biggest French author right now, and Isabelle Maurice. And then you can see that all this digital, we'll talk about it, but we have a strong like digital strategy. So we have all newsletters, Instagram, we've on BookTok right now. It's been a year, it's crazy, but yeah, that's it.
And just a question, because Charleston is the example that you developed most, but between Leduc and that nonfiction and Charleston, do you share an audience, or are they they're really
it's really different,
ones?
And that's interesting, because we have strong but different audience, and we address them in different ways. We have separate accounts, and the communication is really different. But we use the same leverage, but with a very different audience.
Okay.
And there is no overlaps between,
Wow, great. Now let's go to Italy.
That's
Almost.
happens.
Yeah, okay. So first of all, hello, very nice to be here. I wanted to thank very much Jens, Mariana, all the Bookwire team, especially Neus, and very proud to be also in a stage with such admired colleagues. And Iperborea, the publishing house I'm the publisher of, is, I would say, middle-aged. If Rafa, as you can see, is very old, and Danaé is just out of her teenager, we are almost 40. And the publishing house was founded in '87, and it was very small, very niche, specialized in publishing Nordic literature into Italian. It happens that the publishing house was founded by my mother. It's a strange coincidence that now I'm here. And it kept the same publishing house for many, many years, 20 years, publishing only 10 books per year, very carefully selected quality literature, both classics, Nobel Prize winners, contemporary titles from, I would say, Holland and up. And in the years, my mother was able to find some more than bestsellers. She found some long sellers. One of those is, the previous was Arto Pasilina. It's an author that we are proud to share with Anagrama. That was very big for us. Maybe The Year of the Hare, his most successful title we sold in the years, 150,000 copies. Same for Björn Larsson. That is a strange case that he is, well, he's not also in France, but in Italy it's the place where he's most well known, and then other authors from Northern European literature. Then, in the last 10 years, the publishing house changed shape in many ways. We launched a new series. We started also working at the festival. It started, the festival was is still, because we reached the 10th edition, so we are 1 year younger than READMAGINE. And it's called Iperborea, and it's focused on Northern European literature. Then came in 2017, we launched a children's series of Nordic authors, both classic and contemporary, so the same work we were doing with the adults list we did for the children's list. We started with novels, and then in the last years we also started publishing some illustrated books. To give you some numbers, I told that the company published 10 books per year until 2010, and then we increased the Nordics list to 15 per year. Then we published 6, 7 titles of the children's list. And then a big change came in 2018 when we launched this, we call it Bookazine. It's, well, you all know what a bookazine is, but in Italy it was something a bit new, or at least it was new, to make a bookazine sort of, I wouldn't say mainstream, but widespread. And the idea came, like it also there, it was the content that first came as an idea, not the format. The format came later. We, in the publishing house, were all fond of traveling and reading connected to traveling, so to have a better idea of the place you were going. And we weren't satisfied with the offer, just like my mother, when she founded the publishing house, she started it and specialized just because she couldn't find Nordic writers that she had discovered in French bookshops. She couldn't find it in Italian, and she decided to found a publishing house. Same here. If you go in a bookshop, it was like this in Italy, but it's after our research we found that it's common that you find lots of great travel guides. You find any sort of travel guide for classic, for backpacking, hipster traveling. You find great authors from one place. So you have the novels, you have the history books, you have political books, but it's very difficult to find a book that tells you what is the atmosphere of the place you are going. So what is the discussion going on there from a political, economical, social, cultural point of view. And so that's what we started. And we found out that the better way to tell this was through many articles. So we combine this idea with long form articles. That is a genre that I think that in the last maybe 10 years is really producing some great works. And we commissioned them to writers, local writers, international reporters, experts, local and foreign, and then we also combine it with maps, with infographics, with reportage, photo reportage that we send a photo reporter in the place to follow all the stories, and it's dedicated to either cities or countries, and then this is, well, another thing. And then also we did during pandemics, since we couldn't travel, we did space, we did ocean, and things like this. And then this I wanted to show the different formats. This is, I brought one also physical copy. This is the Nordics, that have since the beginning all this format. Then we did a restyling in 2014 to refresh a bit the graphic design that proved very successful, the rebranding and the graphic refresh, because it brought a younger audience. So this refresh also helped for the things that we did later, like the children's list, the passenger. This eCorvi is a series that we launched last year that for the first time mixes the experience of the passenger and of Iperborea, bringing like literary non-fiction from all over the world in an attempt to try to understand through literary titles what is going on today in the world. And then, well, this is the passenger. This is another bookazine that we published last year. It's about culture and food, called L'Integrale. And then this is another Cose Spiegate Bene, that means stuff well explained. Is a collaboration with probably what is the best Italian online newspaper called Il Post, that have been also tremendously successful in the last years. And the origin of Cose was the passenger, because the Il Post director, he liked very much what we have done with the passenger and said, why don't we do something together, like our contents in your magazine? So we invented this concept, and this is Altre Cose, that is in collaboration with Il Post, that is more a normal non-fiction new imprint that we have launched 2 months ago, that tend to publishers basically UK and US non-fiction. This is our first book, Monsters by Claire Dederer. And this is a picture of Iperborea. Let me say just 2 words on Iperborea. That is the festival. It started in 2015 in Milan, in an important Milanese theater, and it gathers every year some thousand people. And it's 4 days, and it's very crossover, I would say. So it's not only literature, but we also do cinema, we do music, concerts, food, children activities, and contemporary, like journalism, for example, coming from Nordic and so class languages, and all this around Nordic cultures. And this is our sales from the 2013, that was the year before the restyling and when we only published the Nordics. And then, like in 2015 came the Iperborea Festival together with the restyling I mentioned. Then Iminibore is the children's list in 2017, then The Passenger 2018 that, of course, was affected by the pandemic, and then came 2021, Cose Spiegate Bene, and then the narrative nonfiction and the other bookazine in last year. So I'm done. Thank you very much.
Super impressive. Yeah, great. Well, thank you. I mean, I have tons of things that I would love to develop more with you. I think the older men in the room, you have seen the world change a lot, right? So in the past, you were telling the story now from your mother to you, from Herralde to nowadays. I can imagine that this has required you to adapt and to have a message and a brand that is more interesting for a younger audience, right? And I think you just explained, have been very successful in actually doing that, right? So Anagrama could be a very old-fashioned, serious, necktie brand, and it isn't. It's like this really cool, hip thing. How have you managed to do this process? What has it entailed within the organization? What kind of challenges has that put for you?
I think it has to be with this one-man band to plural company. It has to be a lot with that because it enters a lot of new ideas and new projects. We also have rebranded the non-fiction collections to also fresh up a little bit the books in a very colorful way. So I think there are multiple factors. No, one is maybe the design. In other hand, Anagrama has shaped the literary education of several generations. So this is one of the main challenge for us to connect to the new generations, to the younger audiences. So in the marketing area, I think one of the interesting things that we are doing is collaborating with other like-minded companies in the cultural sector, like Primavera Sound, also Jottown Magazine, and many others, to connect, share the different audiences, public, and create a big brand, relate these brands with all the audiences. Also respecting the growing readers.
Of the brand. Yeah, it's quite a challenge. Really interesting. And in your case, Pietro?
Yes, it's a similar story. I mean, Iperborea was very well known for the quality of the content, not only the selection, but also the quality of the translation, the editing, and the presentation. And this we thought that shouldn't be touched, so we continue not compromising on this, but on the other hand, we try to have a very curious and open-minded and not snob approach to everything else. And for example, to quote a couple of examples that are interesting, the festival was very helpful in this. In one hand, of course, it's a moment where you gather a lot of like-minded people with the same interests, and also people who don't have the same interests. This is why also we do concerts and DJing with some type, not top level. We never invited Björk, for example. It's a dream, but maybe next year. But medium level Nordic bands, so they gather their own public of maybe young people coming to a literary festival, and this helped. And then also the festival was a way to attract sponsors, for example, not much because of the money they got the festival. That is so difficult to take money from sponsors, but for collaborations and also reaching their clients and their public. For example, from the festival, we started, I will mention two, but I could quote more collaborations. One with IKEA, that once we met for the festival, I asked something, and from this started a collaboration that lasted 3 years, where we shared a stand at the Turin Book Fair, which is the most important Italian book fair, huge. And we are a very small publishing house, and that normally had a stand of 3 meters per 2, and we had a 70-meter square stand, beautiful with all IKEA furniture. And apart from this, we also, IKEA communicated with their newsletter their presence with us in the Torino Book Fair, and that was fantastic. Of course, it helped also the publishing house. Another thing we did was with another sponsor of the festival, that is Ceres, that is a Danish beer brand that was a sponsor for an event in the festival. And then we started talking with this guy who was at the time the marketing director of Italy, Ceres, and he had an idea. They were launching their craft beer, new brand, and he had the idea, said, okay, this is very well linked with books, because it's a more meditative drink compared to the normal beer they produce. So it was his idea, say, why don't we send beers in bookshops? Say, yes. And so we organized together. It was very complicated, but very exciting. He gave us 20,000 beers that were sent in all Italian bookshops. And we organized a promotion where every Iperborea book was bought, were given a beer in the bookshops that decided to participate. And that was, of course, it was something, everybody talked about this. It was the first time that beer came in a bookshop. It was very also, imagine Italian bureaucracy and beer in a bookshop. So not easy. But then also for the booksellers, we sort of gave her a new, look at the strange guys at Iperborea. They have strange ideas, but they work. So it was.
That's nice. I think one of the things that you have in common that is great is really this creation of almost a fan base, right? It's not really even a community, it's a fan base, and a very strong brand recognition, which you nurture via partnerships, online, very much using your digital tools and so on, and that definitely makes a difference. Talking about, digital and formats and so on, I would be interested, of course, in audio, because we have gone a long way with Anagrama, enjoyed the ride quite a bit. We started working together a couple of years ago to work together with Anagrama and helping them develop their audiobook catalog, and I think, you've done an outstanding job. And with Leduc, we started more recently. We're still building that catalog little by little, but also we see very quick now, early in the days, that those titles are functioning extremely well. So I would like to understand, in this universe where we're talking more about, content community and my end public, how do digital and offline combine, and how do the formats, audio and so on, come together for you?
All right. See? For us, we used to think of the book in a totality, like digital and print, until audio.
Okay.
Because ebook is, we have this strategy of digitalize everything that comes out in print, so it's easy. But with the audio, we have to set a plan, an editorial plan, because because of the production costs, the time we need, and everything, and also we had to think on audio, like in a new life for the book, because you have to choose a voice, you have to choose like a tempo. It's completely different. So when we started with the audio project, it was in 2021. We start, like making it grows with a lot of commitment, and in a different way from other digital.
Yeah. I find that really interesting, actually, because if I look at also you with your books, your edition, it's really, it has a character, such a particular character, right? And so with ebooks, it's a bit boring, because at the end of the day, it's like the file. But with audio, really, we have the opportunity to develop something broader, right? Like really catering to an audience with your essence, your DNA, and I think that's fantastic. That's really cool. And Danaé, what about Leduc?
Yes, so we used to sell our audio rights to the main French audiobooks publishers, and we launched our own fiction imprint last year with Bookwire. And so it's a decision that came really from seeing what was happening in all the northern countries, obviously, and discussing it with publishers, and seeing how the market had shifted really quick for them. And it was also, in the previous conference, they were talking about regaining power. It was a way to regain power
Definitely.
On our most important brand authors. And so we are very happy about this, because now we have like this global strategy for the author, and we will think of the release of the book on the paper format, of course, but also ebook format, which is really big for us, and audio, and have like a combined strategy. And so we have the same, as we have this strong like brand identity, we have the same way of communicating about our authors, but also we try to adapt to each format. And for example, it happens quite a bit that we change the cover for the ebook to adapt the like readership, when we see that in bookshops, sometimes you want to go with a more upmarket cover, because you want the booksellers to read it and to recommend it to their readers, because the content of the book will appeal to the booksellers. But online, obviously in France, like literary or upmarket fiction is not big on digital, so it will be more like commercial. So we will make a more commercial cover for the ebook, for example, and for the audiobook, it's not as much as a cover question, but really you said about curating the audio and having like the voices and trying to really put our own way of feeling the text and into the reading. And also we really try to have like a synergy of publication to launch at the same time with
very important,
and to be like everywhere at the same time. So yeah.
Fantastic. And so the three of you are medium-sized publishers, right? And you're not really huge groups, although, you have been acquired by Anagrama recently, and you obviously Feltrinelli is behind, but, your teams are not these huge teams. Could we talk a little bit about the challenges that you face? Because we're seeing, this is a lot of work. I mean, just setting that festival, I mean, wow. Generating all of this additional content, doing all of this data intelligence, being behind all this is a lot of work. So could you share with us, because I know that the audience also has some publishers that have more or less your size or even smaller. So could you share a little bit about what the challenges are and how you faced that?
Yes, of course. For us, yes, we did many different series, and we try to give a strong idea and identity to every new thing we do, just like Leduc has done in these years, launching every time new thing which has its own identity, and this is a big help So you don't have for every book you publish to start the work of promotion again. So people knows already a bit what to expect. Once I tell you what the passenger is, then it's easy to understand what Barcelona will be or South Korea. So this is something that really helps. And we have, compared to what you were saying, I think that we have more public going from one series to the other. It's not fully overlapping, but also all the collaborations I mentioned, this like the collaboration with Il Post, they are really a powerhouse. So many of the readers, their subscribers, they are really bombed with Iperborea. And so I think that some of their readers really just passed to us. So yeah, this is what we do. We try, like Rafa told, to experiment with digital content, digital promotion, because with content we don't experiment too much with digital, also because, as I showed before, this is very difficult to turn into a successful ebook, because also the paper the matters. Like we invested a lot on the opposite, on the printed thing. Like, for example, now all our books, the cover, all our series, the covers are made by a paper that we commissioned to Fedrigoni, that is probably the best Italian paper mill, that they made a special paper only for us, that we have an agreement that they cannot sell it to other publishers, so it's only us to have this paper. But then we experiment more in promotion. So, for example, we are now currently working at a podcast based on The Passenger. We experimented with some podcasts in the past for the literature list, and things like this, yeah.
And Danaé, would you like to tell us about your...
Yeah, you're right. It's a lot of work for us, for our medium-sized team. The thing is, as you said, we invest a lot on building the brand, and then it can we also, of course, work as a prototype for each book, but there is this strength from the brand, and so this is a lot of work to have you saw we have several imprints within the company, which with their own identity, and so sometimes it's a bit like we have to shift from an identity to the other within the same day because we work on several levels. But I feel like with the energy we put on building each brand, then the readers, they really they do the work for us, kind of, because they will recommend the brand and it will auto-nurture itself, kind of.
Of course.
Yeah.
What are your challenges, Rafa?
In my case, yeah, I started in Anagrama in 2020, and I was working hand by hand with Joanna, and the department until today has grown to 4 people. So yeah, we are not that many people for what we do. But that is also because the structure of Anagrama is very horizontal, and so we are channeling all the marketing ideas, projects, and everything. But it also comes from many other departments. In fact, we don't like to call it departments because we are very connected. And in Anagrama, we are nowadays 30 people. We are in a same space, so we are always talking and always in contact. And yeah, we are 4, but it's
a
12.
lot of support of everybody else.
A lot of support from the other.
Well, I wonder if anybody has any question that you would like to share with us? Yes.
Hi. Well, you have talked about the digital different methods that you're implanting to create your conversations and to engage your readers. And I was wondering for Rafa, because I feel like Pietro has talked a little bit more about this. If you're interested in creating physical spaces for your readers in order to create discussion maybe about the books, apart from the digital marketing, or if there's no room for that right now, if you're interested maybe in engaging with the reader in cultural spaces or different kinds of events. That's my question.
Well, I understand that you wanted to know how we engage conversation with readers between our collaborations.
No, not exactly. Like,
True.
how do you, if you're planning or you think it's interesting to engage conversation in physical spaces apart from digital spaces?
Sure. We have started, because we are really close to La Central, who is also from Feltrinelli. We have started, La Central has this academia project. It's like literary courses and humanitarian courses, and we are very related to them, and we have started these also courses based on topics, on the discussion, the books we are publishing proposes, and also we are starting physical reader clubs in the office. So people from Barcelona can come into the main office, see where we are working, and also discuss about our books. So yeah, for sure, we love to have this conversation, not only in the digital space, but also in these physical spaces.
Yeah, thanks. I think that's a great idea, actually, because I feel like after the pandemic, there's such an interest to actually be physically be able to talk and engage apart from the online community. Mm-hmm. So thank you. That was very interesting.
Thank you.
Yes.
So my question actually follows directly from that one. I love bookshop and beer. I am totally stealing that. So but I did wonder what your view of bookshops are, because we hear many times the bookshop's dead and then it comes back and then it's dead and then it's come back. So do you see the bookshop as being in the past like a heritage thing where you just you supply books? Or do you feel that the bookshop represents something special in terms of where you meet the reader? Because, I work with 600 bookshops in the UK. I'm looking to go back with ideas. And I'm just genuinely interested in how you see the bookshop in 2024.
I didn't mention, but I also founded a bookshop in Milan. So I really believe into it, and of course it's very difficult because our objective, our aim was to come to the draw level, no, zero net. That is, I think a reasonable aim would be this. And of course, I think that I hope that there will be bookshops in the future. Of course, we can see already now that compared to 10, 20 years ago, how sales are spread through very different channels. But I also see, and especially among the young in Italy, young people, that there is a passion for the object, for the book object, for the paper, for these things. I see at the book fairs or in occasions where I can meet readers, how many, of course, they are the strong readers, but I think the strong readers is our public. How many young people want to really know how a book works? They want to know how publishing works, how a book is done. They want to know what glue do you use, things like this. And I think that all this is very physical, so it cannot be taken completely away. You need a place where you want to touch the books and find out the books. And places can be a bookshop or a book fair, like the one I've never visited, but I'm very curious to visit. This afternoon I will go to Retiro to see the Madrid book fair, but I think that this is and will be very important.
Yeah.
Danaé,
Yeah.
may I? Oh.
Yeah, no, I also believe that there is space for a bookshop with a strong identity. We saw this a lot in France. A lot of new bookshops with a real identity, with a curated selection. And I feel like the future of bookshop is to be more and more involved in other activities than just putting books on tables. For example, we have a literary prize within Charleston that is part readers and part booksellers, and I think it's our role really as within the industry to have more communication between publishers, booksellers, and readers, and to really have a sense of community, is the way I say it, but really discuss more. And I feel like this is really exciting right now in France because we have a lot of new bookshops created each year, but with very strong identity and with a real proposition, and it's more difficult for traditional bookshops that used to sell a little bit of everything, and
You connect those books.
Yes.
That's the kind of bookshops that you perhaps want to connect to directly and have a much stronger relationship with.
Yeah.
Andrew, I think you have a last question.
If I may, Danaé, you referred to Silicon Valley-style growth hacking strategies. Would you mind sharing what kind of your top 3 strategies have been from a publisher perspective? Because I think it's the first time I heard a publisher use that term at all at a conference, so I'm curious.
Well, I'm the editorial team, but I will try my best. Well, we do publish Ryan Holiday, which helps. I don't know if you know of him, but he has a book about growth hacking. And I feel like we are really rely on data, and data analysis. So we hate buying an advertisement in a magazine, for example. So one of our strategy is only to put money on trackable advertisements and to be able to really know how many clicks it generated and to put more money when we know it's successful. The other thing is kind of what I was talking about the readers group. We really rely on this community we've built through the years that will be the first ambassadors of our brand and our books. At the beginning, it was 10 people a year. Now it's 20. So it's been 10 years. So it's a community of 150 people. We will get all material in advance, and we will start building and engaging their own audience even before the book is out. And they are really we transform users, I may say, to ambassadors, and this is our most successful thing, I would say. And the third one, I don't know.
Oh, those 2 were good. Great. Well, I have to say, I think this was very inspiring. I thank you very much. And also, in Bookwire's name, it is a pleasure to work with you guys. So we hope to continue the conversation. We're going to close up now this morning discussion and leave everybody to go and see the Madrid Book Fair if you have the time afterwards. So thank you very much.
Thank you for
Thank you very much.